Hi, and welcome to the first ever, I think, Wisdom Practice Day. This was created actually because of you, and we got a lot of feedback. It's like the conference is great, but there's so much conversation and so much activity. What if we had a day that was more practice-focused? And so we're very honored to have two extraordinary teachers with us today. Byron, Katie, who will be on from 9 to 12, and then there'll be a 2-hour break. And then our dear friend John Kabat-Zinn will be guiding us from 2 to 5 p.m. And lunch is on your own, so you'll have 2 hours to figure that out. But I'm really excited for this day because I feel like usually some of you have been to the main conference the last 3 days, and I know some of you are just coming fresh today. But particularly for those of us who are at the conference, there's just a lot of activity that happens on a lot of things. And so to have a day to really tune in to our own mind, body, and heart feels like I need it. And I'm hoping some of you need it as well. For Katie's session, it's important that you have a notebook. And I know some of you came in without grabbing one, so we have some more over there. So if you don't have a notebook, we will get you one. There's volunteers. If you raise your hand, or we'll figure out a way to get them some notebooks. Otherwise, the schedule's pretty simple. Katie will be doing the work with people, and that will be introduced when she gets out here. So you don't need to come knowing anything about anything, but just out of curiosity, how many people have done whatever mindfulness meditation before? Is that something that people have done? Awesome. And then how many people are, would you say, somewhat familiar with Katie and the work? Is that? Could you raise your hands one more time? I missed them. Okay. Good to know. So without further ado, I would like to welcome, is there any questions actually before we go?
What are the exits to the building?
The exits to the building are right here and right there. If you get really nervous and anxious and you just need to take off, that's where you go. Or you just go inside and just ride it out. Whichever one suits your need. Wonderful. Well, without further ado, I will welcome Byron, Katie to the stage.
Hello. Hello.
So we're going to talk for a few minutes and then do the work together. But before we do the work together, we had a conversation yesterday, and I know there was questions in the Q&A to Katie, just really about her work and about how do we stop this war. And I think, Katie, there's this sense that there's all these problems out in the world that if I can just fix these problems out in the world, my life will be better. And so we thought we'd just kind of see if we can finish up that conversation, if we will, in terms of how you see that and how you experience that and how the work orients towards the war that we create within and the war that we see without.
So, you know, if my child, for example, like knocks over a glass of milk, okay, and I say to my child, I told you to be careful. What's the matter with you? Okay, how many of you experience that as violent? You feel it inside. And if you're that child, you hear it, there's something the matter with me. Mm-hmm. Because mother, father said, what's the matter with you? Okay, so there's something the matter with me. Okay, so what's the matter with me? You know, later maybe I feel guilty. I was a little too harsh with that child. Okay, so now I'm wearing guilt. That tells me that I'm off. But then my mind could go to, well, I told him to be careful, and he didn't do it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm putting it back on the child when I am the cause of the violence. The child is innocent. He didn't think, well, I think I'll just do this and upset mom, and it didn't work that way. So now that violence in my home and a mind that would create violence like that in the home at any level, that is the mind that I'm going to go out, as that mother. I'm going out in the world and I'm going to do something important. I mean, look at the mind that's going out in the world to do something important.
And make change.
And make change. And let's say, I am not a great problem solver, but my heart's in the right place. I'm going to do everything I can to make change. But look at the mind I'm making these changes with. There's something way off. So as you began the conversation with, it's like that has to be taken care of on the inside before it's ever going to change out here. The way I speak to my child. How many of you, we can't even determine whose turn it is to do the dishes without blame or some kind of argument going on. It's not my turn. That came up yesterday in the Q&A. It's not my turn. No, it's my turn. It's on and on.
And what prevents that is the egoic identification with, what prevents that learning from your perspective that sees the problems as outside and does not necessarily understand the own violence?
Limited self-awareness. Limited awareness of self. And the only solution I know to that from experience, because it's a practice that came to me, 30 years ago. I didn't have any other practice but speaking that way to my children and then feeling guilty over it, etc. But the only way I know is self-inquiry. And so, as you know, Soren, that's what I do. I invite people to self-inquiry in the world. And it really works for, if a person's mind is open to it, it works. But, self-inquiry is a tough thing because you're going against, as you said earlier, that identification. I'm the mother, that's the child. My job is to teach them. My job is to be focused on that child and teach them good manners in the world so they'll have a happy life. Even if it hurts me more than them.
And my parents taught me that way, and so I'm going to teach you that way and deal with it.
Yeah. So we have like a mass trance going on, a mass consciousness where we actually are doing war with each other. Now there's something off with that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people might, once you bring it up, actually realize that there's an element of war that's going on. I think the challenge becomes, in those moments, how do we do the turnaround, or how do we begin to shift that? Because it's the shame that often comes up, like, oh shit, I said this when I shouldn't have said this, and this back and forth between unconsciousness, reactivity, and then shame, and self-inquiry gets us out of that channel or out of that.
Well,
out of that loop.
It shifts the mind. Every time we question an assumption or a judgment that we're believing, and we get really quiet in it. And, the work is what I'm talking about here. It's a way to identify and question those judgments and assumptions that are running through my head. For example, my child was unconscious. He just spilled the milk, just unconscious. Okay, so my child was unconscious. Is it true? That's the first question. There are only 4. If there were any more than that, I never could have kept up with it. So, is it true? So now I'm going to just meditate on that moment in time, even though it's the next day. Maybe I'm still feeling guilty, or maybe it was last year. It doesn't matter. When it arises,
Yeah.
So let's say it's the next day, I'm feeling guilty, so I'm just going to visualize that moment in time again. He's unconscious. Is it true? And now I can see that I didn't even see the child at the table when he knocked it over. I only saw it after the fact. So the answer is no. Can I absolutely know that it's true? I'm going to check again that he's unconscious, having to do in the situation where he spilled the milk. No. So now I'm going to notice the third question, how I react when I believed the thought. He's so unconscious. He's unconscious. Okay, how do I react when I believed the thought? I looked up, I saw the milk. I looked up, I saw his face, and his face looks like, oh, hell. Here she comes. He looks startled. And how do I react when I think the thought, he spilled the milk, he's unconscious? I immediately attack my child. I can see the look on my face. I can see I'm startled, but not from my child, from seeing the glass on the floor. And I can continue to meditate on that moment in time. Do you all see it in your mind's eye? How many of you see that situation in your mind's eye? Would you raise your hands? Yeah. How many of you have been in a similar situation with someone? Yeah. So it's not uncommon. That's what I mean by mass hypnosis. So who would I be in that situation with my child without the thought, he's unconscious? There's something wrong with him, he's unconscious. Gosh, the milk is beautiful on the floor, actually. And I can see the glass, and I can see the light hitting it. I can actually see drops over here that I missed in the situation, even though I saw them. I can see that I could calm my child. My child looks very upset and nothing happened, but he spilled the milk. I can support him, I can help him, we can clean up the milk together. So my child's unconscious, he spilled the milk. My child's unconscious, turned around, I'm unconscious. Okay, where in that situation where was I unconscious? I just shot from the hip and just went for him. I attacked my own child. That's unconscious. So if I feel guilt, now all of a sudden, guilt is not this terrible thing. Guilt is what brings me back to inquiry so I can realize for myself the cause of that guilt, the cause of my own suffering. Because until then, the cause of my own suffering was my son.
Right.
Now the cause of my own suffering is my lack of consciousness.
Right.
Any time that I should feel anger arise or anxiety, any kind of anxiety, guilt, a kind of depression, then I've got some work to do. And I don't have to do it. I can just go on with my life. You hear that attitude? I can just go on with my life. Or I can go on with my life. Without the depression and this consciousness of excitement and curiosity, like the curiosity of a child.
Yeah.
And now I'm fit to solve the problems in the world. I'm fit to solve big problems like, who's going to do the dishes tonight? But until I'm really good in this, until I'm really good in my world, I'm not going to be called to do greater things. I'm unqualified. obviously, if I, the war with the self,
Yeah.
the war at home, those are the trenches. The war, going to work, the workplace. I mean, on your way to work, do you have the curiosity and excitement of a child, even if you're 80? I mean, are you wearing that? Or are you oh gosh, oh God, I'm just not another day with him in the office. Or, that attitude, anywhere on a scale from 1 to 10, if depression is just at a 1, if 10 is the top of the scale, we have a right to more. Freedom is our birthright, and that's what I'm talking about. Freedom to be in the world without being one of the problem makers. And the problem maker is usually unconscious because it's their fault. I mean, my child spilled the milk. That's not on me. Yeah.
And that's true for work. That's true for presidential candidates. That's true for all kinds of situations.
Yeah.
The kid is just an example of anything external.
Yeah. And look who I'm raising. He could be a politician when he grows up. And what's he going to do when someone spills the milk? It's not going to be pretty. He learned it all from me.
Beautiful. So shall we move in, or is there anything
Good.
else you would want to say on that topic, or do you feel like it's a good transition to move into the workbook at this point?
Well, any questions so far? Okay, so everyone ready to try it on?
Okay. She has a question right there.
You see people.
Yeah.
Just keep that in there, 'cause I don't think.
Can the child actually be yourself, is what she said.
Can the child actually be yourself? So I spilled the milk and I'm angry with myself. So let's say you spilled the milk. So what self-judgments would you have about yourself? You're clumsy. You're what? You did it wrong. You did it wrong, is that it? That's a big one. How many of you have experienced I did it wrong? Another popular one. So you spilled the milk. So you weren't paying attention, is that what you just said? Okay, so okay, so everyone in the audience can't hear you, but what's happening is just flying around trying to find a belief, not being able to land on one. The ego's going, whoa, whoa, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I'm not saying that's you. I'm just saying it's not simple just to land on something, a self-judgment. For one thing, there are so many. For another thing, it takes silence. The work is meditation. It's something we sit in. I ask myself, is it true there's something wrong with me in that situation where I spilled the milk? There's something wrong with me. Is it true? Now, I'm not going to guess. I'm going to look at that moment, even if it's like nanoseconds back. Let's say it's 3 minutes ago I spilled the milk, and now I'm just, mom's going to come in. So I've got to get over the hyperventilation so I can just clean it up in time for her to see this. Okay, so there's something wrong with me. I do it later because mom's coming, okay? I do the best I can in that situation. So later, I'm sitting down, there's something wrong with me. Is it true? Yes, I can see, I was sitting there and I just spilled the milk like that. I was turning. I didn't remember it was there. I didn't mean to do the same turn. There's something wrong with me. Is it true? Yes. Can I absolutely know that it's true? Okay, let me look again. No. You see how my answer changed? How many of you see why my answer changed? Okay, you're in self-inquiry. Okay, is it true? The first time I saw, I just turned and it happened, I should have looked. So, no, I'm innocent. I can't remember what I can't remember. Can I absolutely know that it's true? There's something wrong with me. No. I am completely innocent. I had no way, the milk was there, but it wasn't here. I moved, and there it was. Everyone follow that? Okay. So how do I react when I believe the thought, there's something wrong with me? Okay, you're all familiar with that one, right? So you sit in that for a while and you begin to get in touch with emotions at a very deep level. How do I react when I believe the thought? Also, I begin to, in that silence, I begin to be shown in my mind's eye all those other times that I have felt like there's something wrong with me. There's something really familiar in that. And maybe I want to just write down a couple of notes, like 3 years old, 5 years old, yesterday, other times when I felt like there was something wrong with me, or whatever arises. Okay, and I continue to meditate on how do I react when I believe the thought. I notice where the first emotion hit me, how far it traveled, how it affected my shoulders and neck. I mean, at any age, it's never too late just to get in touch with those emotions and feelings and what images of past, future come to me when I think the thought there's something wrong with me in that situation. And then I got to move to who would I be without it? Who would I be? Knocking over the milk without the thought there's something wrong with me. Okay, so let's do the work. Then when I turned around, there's something right with me. You see how I'm not just finding an opposite, I'm also flipping to the opposite meaning of the actual word. Something wrong with me, there's something right with me. Now I'm going to try that on just like a new pair of boots. Just meditating on, there's something right with me in that situation. And it's remarkable in the silence what is shown to you. It's a gift. It's enlightenment. It will lighten your mind. It will lighten your experience. It will flow through your relationships, just one inquiry on something that simple. It shifts your identification. It shifts from there's something wrong with me to it's possible there's not something right with me, and then eventually there's something right with me. You start to get a balance. Then eventually, I can honestly say, I come from a world of depression, more than a decade of the deepest, darkest suicidal depression, hard to breathe. And I can honestly say that I haven't felt the slightest depression in over 3 decades. And I was a pretty hopeless case. But this inquiry found me, and it's like I just dug my way out of hell. And I really didn't dig my way, I just got still. And these questions were just born in me in a moment, and I just would not go into hell without taking them with me. It's like a flashlight. You just go in with it into the deepest, darkest, and it's, just don't leave home without it. Someone has their hand up there.
And then try to think that there's something right with you. Would you go and actually reverse the thought process?
I just shortchanged it because we're going to be doing the work here for a while, and And I would find opposite and sit in it just the way I sat in the other questions. I wouldn't let me get away with anything because I know what's meeting the questions. It's beyond me. It's beyond ego. And it will show me because I'm asking, and I'm asking authentically. I really want to know. Yeah. Yeah, there's something right with me. And I just wouldn't come out of that meditative state until I saw it, until I was shown. But it's nothing I'm manufacturing, it's something I'm inviting. Yeah, it's a let go. It's a surrender to what arises. Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing. It can bring a lot of tears and a lot of laughter. Yeah, a lot of change.
So should we do the workbook now? Does everybody have a workbook?
Let's do the work.
There's a few people in the middle here. Can we have some volunteers or somebody grab some?
Workbook. Is there anyone that needs a notebook?
I think they're going out to the hall now to get some
If
more.
you need a notebook, if you just let the person at the end of the aisle know, then they can raise their hand and they can drop them there and pass them down.
Here comes some here.
Okay, so I invite you all to close your eyes.
Anybody else? Good.
Anyone else need a folder? Just stand up and wave your hand so it's really obvious too. Okay. So I invite everyone just to close your eyes and relax. And spilling the milk, my child spilling the milk, that was a moment of anxiety. That was a moment of anxiety for him. It was a moment of anxiety for me, a moment in time. Now find one in your own experience, either at work or on Facebook. At home. Just allow a situation to arise in you and feel what it feels like. Feel the emotion in that situation when you're full of anxiety and let's say it's an argument with someone or an argument. No matter how trivial or not. Trivial or important. Feel the emotion and feel it on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most anxiety. Maybe you're really angry at that person. So you'd name it anger. Maybe you were frustrated with that person. And please don't, we're going to write this down in a moment, so please don't write about yourself. You're angry with this person. Now begin to identify why you're frustrated or angry with that person. Maybe you're hurt. Name your own emotion. Why are you angry at that moment in time? And when you've named the emotion and you are in touch with why, open your eyes and fill in statement number 1 on the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet inside your folder. Now you have more than one worksheet there, and you have room to write on the front and back when you go home, so that you can try this practice on a few times. And for those of you that are meditators, you might want to take this into your practice a bit and just feel what that feels like. So fill in statement 1, I'm angry with Paul because he doesn't listen to me. We're standing in the kitchen. I see it clearly. I see his face. I see me there. I'm so angry with him. And notice how your ego is going to want to change situations. It's going to want to do all kinds of dances. Just stay with the questions on the worksheet. Keep it very simple. Okay, so now I invite you to close your eyes again, continuing to meditate on that situation, that moment in time. Begin to get in touch with what you wanted from that person. What do you want? Like, be there, then. See it through your mind's eye, that situation, and get in touch with what did you want from that person. And your ego may judge that today as immature, but someone that's angry it's an immature state of mind. And no change takes place there is going to serve us in the long run. So even though it may sound immature, get in touch with what did you want then from that person. And when you get in touch with that, fill in statement 2. And notice how, again, maybe how immature, childlike, or petty it sounds, and continue to fill in the worksheet with what you want, what you wanted in that situation, in that moment in time. What did you want from that person? Now, to get what you want, what advice would you offer that person? He should, he shouldn't, or maybe she should, she shouldn't. What advice would you offer that person to get what you want? Make sure it's clear advice that would serve you. And you see, I have some examples there too for those of you that need a little experience from my end. Now feel what it feels like. Feel what that frustration feels like, or that anger, in touch with those emotions in that situation. Now, what would it take to go from that emotion all the way to happy? To just go from feeling, let's say, that anxiety and just flip to happy? What do you need from that person? What do you need to be happy? What do you need from that person? Get in touch with that. Meditate on that moment in time, that situation. And then fill in statement 4. Now really invite your ego to have some freedom here. And what were your thoughts about that person? Identify what you were thinking about that person and fill in statement 5. And again, don't expect it to be sane or kind. When we're angry, there's really nothing kind about us. About what we're thinking and believing. So fill in statement 5 with what you find there in the quiet as you meditate on that situation, that moment in time. Now, what is it about that situation or that person you never want to experience again? When you're in touch with that, fill in statement 6. What is it about that person or that situation you never want to experience again? So you can see, just to fill in one of these worksheets, it really takes stillness. And the quieter you get, the more focused on that moment in time you are, the more self-realization you find when you consider what you are thinking and believing. And this will all add up even more by the time we get to the end of this. And so far, what have you realized? What did you realize as you were filling in this worksheet? Anyone volunteer? Again?
She realized she's right. She's right, she said.
Oh, you realize how vast that is. I'm right. It's like right about what? Yes, what did you realize? Again? Very
There's
young.
very young, old feelings that pertain to many situations.
Yeah,
It's familiar.
yeah, yeah. If we believe it here, we believe it over here and here and here and here and here and here. It just makes up our world.
There's somebody
Yes.
over here who had
It made me really sad. Ooh.
a...
Yeah, it just made me sad. There was sadness around it
Yeah.
for myself, but also for the person. It's just sort
Yeah,
of like,
so you're starting to see from their shoes a little more clearly,
yeah.
from their eyes. Not from their shoes, from their eyes. You can see through their shoes too if you really get still enough. Yes, so you can see your part in it, and you're more in touch with their, yeah. Yes. Again,
Insignificant.
insignificant.
How insignificant the situation is? Yeah, okay.
What I noticed was that even though it was a long time ago, that the physical feelings are still really present when I touch into that, and that because it hasn't been inquired deeply into, it's still there, even though I'm not thinking about it. Wasn't thinking about it before we sat.
Yeah.
That all of the kind of suffering, icky feelings, all that stuff is still present, even though I'm not paying attention to it.
Yeah. It's what I love about inquiry is, we're wearing it and we don't even know it. And then after we question what we've written on the worksheet, there's no way for those emotions to reoccur when we consider that situation again. And it shifts everything, what we're believing that you've written on the worksheet. Anytime those concepts arise again, it's different. So your relationships with yourself and other people start to shift radically.
The reaction I received that I didn't like, I know that I've done to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You notice that what you see in the other person is actually in you. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. For you, the anger turned into fear. Yeah, so you actually thought the other person should be responsible, and now you experienced fear because you can see that that's not so. And did you get the
Yeah, that she, as best I understood, was that she originally had anger because she thought this person should solve her problem, and then she noticed fear when she realized this person actually can't solve the problem. Is that correct?
And then you had another piece to that was really brilliant. Thank you. I just can't put it into words. Yes.
We're trying to get mics around, but there's a lot of hands and there's a
Yeah.
big hall.
Mic runners, if you just put it near the closest hand, then that'll work.
I realized that actually my feeling at the end of this process that I didn't want to experience informed my initial reaction to the person. So like the whole thing was in my head.
Yeah, it's
That so that the feeling that you did not want to experience, or that
That I didn't want to experience again with that person was actually what I projected initially in being irritated at the other person.
okay,
That's just the state that I was in.
yeah, so got it.
yeah. So the person really wasn't doing anything to you. The whole thing was just a thing going on in your head, self-made. Yeah, that's really a beautiful thing to realize. Okay, so Mike Runner, if you're near someone with their hand up.
So I can
Hello.
start.
I felt manipulated by my sister out of my inheritance, and over here on your left.
Oh, hi.
I even volunteered to give her my inheritance, and she said yes. And I am so pissed that I let this, that this happen, and I don't know how to get out of it because she's, everything I love, and I.
So that's rather remarkable. You resent her around the inheritance,
Yes.
and you volunteered to give it to her, and she's guilty of saying yes.
Well, no, I withdrew it, and then later on, she started withdrawing her love for me, and I asked her why, and she said it's because she changed her mind on giving me the inheritance, your share of the inheritance.
And so she declined to give you any portion back.
I hadn't given it to her then, but then she did want it in cash.
Oh.
And I took it to her.
Okay, so I'm not hearing it. Are you
Yeah,
hearing it?
I think I'm here in the visualization or in the situation that we did. Before this exercise, she actually stole the inheritance in your perception, or in your experience.
She manipulated me.
She manipulated you.
With love, with
Yeah.
my love for her and her
Got
love
it.
for me.
And then in this in the worksheet, when you did the worksheet, did you notice yourself offering her the inheritance?
Yes.
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 And what was her response?
She was very grateful, and she told all her children that I was going to give her this money to help my other sister. I'm in the middle.
Okay, so thank you. Well, we have a worksheet, and that's the next portion, so I'm not leaving you out to dry here, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
One more over here. We're over here. Hi. What I found was through that process, it just came to me like I'm actually reliving patterns from my childhood in many, many ways. And so I realized that I'm actually like arguing with my dead mother and trying in different relationships to heal that I can't heal anymore because she's not here. And it just like, it was like a lightning bolt. So thank you.
Did you do a worksheet on your mother,
I did a worksheet on my friend.
on your friend?
And as I was doing it, I was like, I'll be damned if that's not my mom.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you like to do the work
Would I like to do the work?
up here on stage?
Sure. Absolutely.
Let's do the work.
Good.
Haha.
Okay.
Do you have tissue up there?
Yeah, so come step into my parlor. You know, if you sit in a few of these worksheets and you work through them the way we're about to do now, just filling one in would just everything begins to make so much sense to you, and it does take stillness. Hi, did you bring your worksheet with you? No. Okay, so bring your worksheet. So there's the microphone. And so what is this? Read statement number 1, what you wrote there.
Okay. Now I need my glasses too. Okay. It's good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Wow. I'm angry with Kathy because she won't stop drinking. And she projects her anger onto me, and she's critical. And she says I'm the most difficult friend she's ever had.
Okay, now what is the situation? Are you on the phone, or are you sitting in your favorite chair at home alone? Where is it that you've had this thought?
I had this experience with her. I just had just last week. Like we
Okay.
got in a fight about it.
So you wrote about that moment in time.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So so Kathy won't stop drinking. You wrote, I'm angry with Kathy because she won't stop drinking.
Mm-hmm.
She won't stop drinking. Is it true?
Yes, it's true.
She won't stop drinking. Now just close your eyes and consider this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you absolutely know that it's true she won't stop drinking? And it's either a yes or a no.
No.
Those first two
I mean,
questions.
no. It's.
Okay, and the mind will want to talk about it. The ego's going to want to defend and justify. And just notice, it's not a terrible thing. Just notice how powerfully it comes in to take over. Can I absolutely know that it's true she won't stop drinking? The answer to those first two questions is one syllable. Yes or no. And you just sit in it until you're shown. And it does take quiet. And the ego, it can really scream here. And just thank it for sharing. It's okay. And just go back to the question, can you absolutely know that it's true that she won't stop drinking?
No.
Okay, so just give that some room.
Mm-hmm.
Now notice how you treat Kathy when you think that thought. And you don't have to guess. Close your eyes and witness it and tell me what you see. Notice how you react and how it feels, what happens when you think the thought, she won't stop drinking. Notice how you treat Kathy and how that feels when you think the thought, she won't stop drinking. Can you all see it in your mind's eye? So if you're ever facilitating this work with anyone, you can travel with them. How many of you see Kathy? See, we've never met her. And yet we visualize all the time. We've got our own scenarios going. Mm-hmm. What do you see?
Well, I see that it's not true that she won't ever stop drinking, that she won't stop drinking. It has been true that she has not stopped, right? But it's entirely possible.
And also, if you want to get closer with this, when she's sleeping at night, is she drinking?
I don't know. It's possible.
Okay, so Kathy won't stop drinking. Okay, and it's, this is personal work. You're going to go to some interesting places, and you land where you land. And it's, we've heard it's the truth that sets us free, and, we're going to land there.
Yeah.
We're going to use our kindest minds to just investigate, to see what's true and what's not in our inner world.
Right. Right.
So how did you treat Kathy in that situation with Kathy when you had the thought she won't stop drinking?
Okay. I was afraid, and I felt responsible.
And how did you let that show?
Well, let me rephrase that. I was angry that I was afraid and felt responsible.
And how did that show?
It showed we were in Mexico, and I packed up my stuff and I left.
Yeah. And notice how you let Kathy know you were angry.
Completely passive aggressive. Yeah.
So close your eyes. You see it? Mm-hmm. You see it clearly? Mm-hmm. This is how you hurt you. Mm-hmm. Kathy will hurt or not as she witnesses it. But this is how you hurt you. Mm-hmm. We can't hurt another human being without feeling the effects of that. And hurt another human being, that would be in our own opinion, okay, in our own experience.
Right.
So Kathy won't stop drinking. Who would you be? So you see you're there with Kathy. Mm-hmm. You're being passive aggressive. Okay?
I didn't go far.
Okay. But in that situation, mm-hmm. Okay, so close mm-hmm. your eyes. Look at her. You're being passive aggressive. Now look around. Are you in a cafe? Are you in a room? Where are you?
I was in a room.
Okay, are you standing or sitting?
Sitting.
Okay, you're sitting. You're there. You're angry. You're being passive aggressive. Now who or what would you be without the thought she won't stop drinking? Look at her. Look at you. Get comfortable where you're sitting. Is there a window in the room? Are there flowers? Is there a ceiling? Other than what you're thinking and believing, who would you be without the thought she won't stop drinking? Just and look at Kathy without the thought. And you can often sit in this place and just stay there until you experience compassion in a situation like this for both of you. Mm-hmm. Other than what you're thinking and believing, are you perfectly okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathy's not the cause of your stress. It's what you're thinking and believing.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathy won't stop drinking. What opposite would you find? I won't stop. What is it that you won't stop in that situation?
Trying to rescue her. Yeah.
So she's addicted to drinking, and you're addicted to rescuing people that may not even want to be rescued.
Right.
She just wants to drink.
Right. A lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
a cat barks, a cat meows, a dog barks, and Kathy drinks a lot.
Drinks. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
maybe for Kathy, not enough. Just
yeah.
a lot in your world.
Right. It's enough in my world. Yeah. Surpassed.
And if Kathy stops drinking, what do you get? Don't you have the thought that'll make you happier if she stops drinking?
Well, I think that's where that realization that my mom came in.
So with Kathy, if she stops drinking, do you think that would make you happier?
Apparently, I think that that would make me happier.
Yeah, so it's all about you. You really
Of
don't care if
course.
she drinks. You
Right.
just want to be happy.
Well, and that's sort of
So
some of
just
the
slow
stuff that's
down,
coming in
just
of like,
slow-
it's none of my, it's like, I can't do anything about that. I need to do
That's
about
really
me.
good to know.
Right,
A lot less anger in your life.
right. So then that bring in what I wrote down of, I don't want to feel the fear of losing her.
Yeah, because if something happened to her, then you would be sad.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we don't want anything to happen to her because you don't want to be sad.
yeah,
I'm just keep pointing to self-centeredness.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it is. But
Okay, so she projects her anger onto you. Is that true?
it is true that,
Remember, it's a yes or no.
yes,
Meditating on a moment in time. This is not a.
Yeah.
It's like when you go into a discussion. That's what we've been doing forever.
right. I'm a therapist, so I want to discuss it.
So discussions are lovely.
You just wrecked my whole career. I'm sorry.
Well, hopefully, just the anger part.
But thank you. Yes, no, it's good. Thank you. Okay. What was,
So she projects her anger onto you.
yes,
Is it true? And just to sit in that, contemplate it, close your eyes. Is it true? The answer is one syllable. And it will show itself to you. You don't have to guess. You don't ever have to guess again. That's what silence is all about. It's about listening, being shown, enlightenment. She projects her anger onto you. Is it true?
no,
Okay, so feel it.
yeah, no,
Yeah, so Kathy is shifting. It's like you're shifting Kathy's identification in your world. And that shifts your relationship with her and across the board with all relationships. She projects her anger onto me. So, sweetheart, look at her. Close your eyes and look at her in that room. Without the thought, she projects her anger onto me. Notice the difference of who or what you would be without that thought. And this gives you an opportunity in that fourth question. You can actually hear what they're saying as opposed to what you thought they were saying. It's a moment of clarity where you can really listen without your guard up because it's such personal work. Who would you be listening to Kathy without the thought she's projecting her anger onto you?
Who would I be without that thought
In that situation,
in that
then.
situation? Yeah, I don't.
You're free to stay, you're free to go, you're free to hug her on your way out, you're free. Free to put your arm around her, you're free.
Yeah. We did end up hugging. And it was okay,
Well, this is maybe you're hugging a different Kathy now.
that's sort
That's
of
the difference.
There's a difference there.
Yeah, it's huge. One, you're connected. The other, you're trying to make an escape, maybe, and not be rude. I don't know. She projects her anger onto me. Turn it around. I
project my anger onto her. Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah. And what I love about this is when we're aware of that, we are more compassionate toward people that are really projecting their anger onto us. Whether there's no way for me to know they are or not. But if I sense it, then I become a very good listener. And there's no anger in it, there's compassion. I'm connected.
Mm-hmm.
So she's the most difficult friend you've ever had. Is it true?
I'm her most difficult friend. We want to turn it that way. She is.
So she says she's the most difficult friend she's ever had. Is it true? In that situation, you could say, yes, you were the most difficult friend she's ever had in that moment.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe for all times.
Perhaps.
Because, people we really care about.
Yeah.
That's how we treat them.
Right.
Like the child that spilled the milk, anger and resentment.
Yeah.
And she's just, I've never met anyone that wasn't my teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I've, met some people like Kathy, and thank goodness, because they continue to enlighten me as I put them on a worksheet. And, dead or alive. And, mothers, you mentioned your mother.
Yeah.
And they never die. And it's they live here.
Yeah.
And it's never too late to get connected.
Yeah.
If she's going to hang out, you may as well just be connected.
Right. Yeah, and my mother drank herself to death. So she died from drug abuse and alcoholism.
Yeah. So you didn't get it with your mother, you get it with Kathy, and then you understand your mother.
Right.
Yeah.
That I'm like, this isn't about Kathy. It's about me and my mom.
And eventually you'll find it's only about you.
Right. Right.
So let's look at statement 2.
Okay. So, in this situation, how do you want them to change?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want them to do? I want Kathy to wake up. I want her to see her beauty and slow down and feel. Stop medicating herself and become more aware of her actions.
Yeah. So the world would tell you, you are so kind and loving and such a good friend. And notice how you treat Kathy when you think the thought, I want her to wake up. You want Kathy to wake up, is it true?
Yes.
You want Kathy to wake up. Be there in that moment when you were angry. Is it true you want Kathy to wake up?
Yes.
And notice how you react, what happens emotionally for you, and how you treat Kathy when you think this thought and she just wants to drink. And you want her to wake up and she wants to drink. There's something off with this picture.
Mm-hmm.
So describe how you react toward Kathy when you think the thought you want her to wake up.
That she won't wake up?
When you think the thought, I want Kathy to wake up, notice how you treat her in that situation and describe it.
That's a beauty. Okay. You're good. You're good.
I've got a couple of questions. And you know, I really see you that way because what you're seeing right now, it's a gift. To me, it's the gift of grace. You have a mind that is open enough to allow yourself to be shown something just truly valuable. I want Kathy to wake up in that situation. Sweetheart, turn it around. I want me.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
So out loud so you can hear it.
So I want me to wake up,
Yeah. And you are.
and I am. Yeah. Mhm.
You want Kathy to see her beauty. Is it true?
Yes.
You know, we would say in the world that's a kind and caring thought. But notice how you treat Kathy when you believe the
she
thought. You
doesn't
want
see it.
her to see her beauty, and
Right.
she just wants a drink.
Right. 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 Because, yeah.
You see how you treat,
Because I don't have any control whether she sees her beauty or not, or she wakes up, or it doesn't really matter.
and it's all about you anyway.
Absolutely.
If she sees her beauty, then maybe she'll stop drinking.
Right. And if I treat her as if somebody who doesn't see her beauty, then that's that's all about me. Right? Yeah.
And notice how you're treating her. You're not treating her like anyone that's beautiful whatsoever.
Right. Right.
Disdain,
Yeah. 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 All about
passive
me.
aggressive.
All out of fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
So interesting.
so
Really, yeah. And so I need to, or what I want to do, or what I can do is is wake up and see my beauty, and let her drink if she wants.
and in that situation you need to see your beauty
I
because you're passive aggressive, unkind, self-centered. And then
Yeah.
the ego says, "Oh, but only for their own good. If she were just like me."
Right.
It's like we are no reason for someone to get sober.
No. No.
If that's beauty, just don't drink.
Right? Yeah. But really stemming from this deep fear of losing her. But what came was like, but I lost my mom,
Yeah.
and I'm still here.
Yes. And if I require my children to live so I can be happy, and it's like, be very careful, children, don't hurt yourself because I'll be unhappy. And then they have to live for me. That doesn't give them a lot of freedom. That gives them a life of guilt. And they can't be honest with me. Let's don't hurt mom.
Right.
It's,
Right.
yeah. So, little girl growing up like that.
Yeah. That's how I grew up.
Yeah. So let's just turn this whole thing around. I want me to wake up. Look at what you wrote. I want me to see my.
I want me to wake up. I want me to see my beauty. Slow down. I want to slow down. I want to feel. I want to stop medicating myself
Using her as my drug of choice in the moment.
using her and become aware of my actions.
Now, read it just like that again, because when you take your worksheets home today or later, you can sit down and in that situation, what you want is, and read it. So imagine you're there with Kathy, you're passive aggressive, and read it again. I want me to wake up. Read it just the way you read it.
I want me to wake up, see my beauty.
Yes, these are your directions in that situation.
In that situation.
It's what you really want,
Yeah.
not what you wrote. We're getting closer to our true nature here.
Yeah, what I really want. Slow down and feel. Yeah, and in that situation, I want to stop medicating myself.
On her.
On her. On her.
She's addicted to drinking, you're addicted to that thinking.
Right. And become aware of my actions
Yeah,
in that moment.
yeah. Now let's turn it around. In that situation, I don't want Kathy to.
And repeat those same words?
All the way through.
Okay. I don't want Kathy to wake up.
No, she wants a drink. Look at her.
Right.
Connect, get connected. I don't want her.
Wow, that's hard to let go of. Isn't that weird? I don't want Kathy to see her beauty.
No. Look at Kathy. Do you see her in your mind's eye? How could she? And look at your passive aggressiveness. How could she?
And I don't want Kathy to slow down.
No, honey. She can't.
I don't want her to feel.
No.
And I don't want her to stop medicating herself.
It's about trusting another person's path in that moment in time. And I don't want her to see her beauty, slow down, to feel, to stop medicating herself. I sound like a dictator. It's like everything you're doing is wrong. I know. And it's painful. It's painful for you, painful for her. And I don't want her.
I don't want her to become aware of her actions.
No, look at her. Do you see why? In that situation, you see why? She's in no shape to become aware of her actions. She's in no state of mind to stop medicating herself. You know, love is the power. That's the power.
I have a little voice inside that's like, but I really want her to, you know?
So turn it around. I really want me. I really want me to get sober. She's drunk with her drinking, you're drunk with your thinking.
Yeah.
Both of you addicted. It's like I'm passive aggressive, but I think I'll run your life. You could, after all,
So you
turn
wanna
out
be
to
my
be
friend?
me.
So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And the next one, let's look at advice.
All right.
Statement 3.
Statement 3. On that one, I just said I want Kathy
Or
to.
Kathy should.
Kathy should stop drinking, doing drugs, and love herself.
So Kathy should stop drinking. Look at her in that situation and see if it's true. And I always look to myself in that situation. For example, if I'm being passive aggressive, she should stop drinking. Is it true?
I know you said yes or no, but I feel like my answer is who am I to say?
You feel like your answer is?
Who am I to say?
Well, and I suggest that you just notice that and be with it, because it sure feels like wisdom to me.
Yeah.
But when I look at self-inquiry, who am I to say? I'm only dealing with myself, so I'm going to just stay silent and open and continue to ask, is it true? Kathy should stop drinking in that situation, because this is me I'm dealing with. Kathy's not here.
Right. Yes, it's true.
So Kathy should stop drinking. Could you absolutely know that it's true that Kathy should stop drinking? You know, this is that wall I hit was like, who needs God when we have my opinion? You know, Kathy should stop drinking. I know. You know, and we're like that. We're dictators, and we can't stand dictators, and now you know why. Too close to home.
We're all like little orange men inside.
There's Kathy, and then this orange man took over.
Okay. Kathy.
Your little sidebar, write it down. That could be your next worksheet, and then come back to Kathy.
Oh, boy.
Notice how you treat Kathy when you think the thought she should stop drinking. And notice who you would be. Just look at Kathy without the thought. You know, you just get really still and you just witness and you watch and you see what you saw then that you didn't see. And it's all there. Just meditating on that moment in time without the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Get connected. She should stop doing drugs. Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? It's like you said, who am I?
Yeah.
And Kathy
I
should
don't
love
know.
herself. Is it true? In that situation, Notice your words to her. She should love herself. Is it true? In that moment in time and situation.
Again, like not mine to say.
So be there in that state of mind. Look at Kathy without the thought, without those judgments. You see her. You're connected. You've taken all the requirements off of her.
Yeah.
Connected. And no matter how hard you try, she drinks if she doesn't, she drugs if she does, and she loves herself or she doesn't. But it's like if we are really passive aggressive and she stops drinking, she stops doing drugs, she does love herself, we think, I am the way and the light. You know, she doesn't get credit. It's, I did that. You know, without me, she wouldn't. So it's really all about me. If she does all that, then I won't have to worry about her. I am freed up from that.
And then I'm safe.
I'm safe. So I think I'll just go out in the world and continue this behavior, this passive-aggressive behavior, because obviously it works. In other words, I'm taking credit for something that she herself has accomplished. So let's turn it around. Kathy should not stop drinking.
Kathy should not stop drinking.
She should not.
She should not do drugs. And
She should not stop doing drugs.
She should not stop doing, oh yeah, she should not stop doing drugs.
And she should not.
And she should not love herself.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. Not in that situation. It's obvious. And you're disconnected. There's something off, and it's not Kathy. If I'm disconnected, there's something off, and it's not them.
Right.
It can't be my husband. It can't be my children. It can't be anyone in my life. If I'm not connected, I'm not connected. If I'm not connected, I have some work to do to get connected. And just like you're connected. That's it. You're waking up to reality. So Kathy should stop drinking. I should stop.
I should stop drinking.
Yeah. Good. Just don't drink. And what else is it that you do that you tend to do that you can't stop doing? Yeah, that one. So stop that. Stop that. Just stop that. Not so easy. So now we understand Kathy. I should stop doing drugs. And, but we all have excuses for doing drugs, but it's not okay for Kathy. She doesn't do them like I do them. She should love herself. Turn around, that'll be a life's work.
Well, her drugs aren't my drugs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like using drugs is, my drugs are people.
Yeah. Kathy, in this situation, is your drug of choice.
Yes.
Yeah, you're inebriated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just mainlining Kathy.
yeah, mainline and Kathy. And if she's not around, I'll put someone else
That's
in.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the,
So,
yeah.
So Kathy should stop doing drugs.
Yes.
Notice what happens when you think that thought. Do you see a picture of Kathy in your head?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see a picture of Kathy in the future, dying like your mother.
Mm-hmm.
So in that room with Kathy, you see that image of a future. You see the image of a past with your mother. You put that on as an image in your head for Kathy. and you're witnessing those two movies, and you become passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Now you see that image of Kathy in your head. Is that Kathy or imagination?
It's imagination.
You see that image of your mother in your head. Is that your mother or imagination?
It's my imagination.
So is Kathy upsetting you, or are you just in a movie?
I know what I'm supposed to say. I'm in it. Yeah, I'm in that movie.
Yeah, so when you're talking to Kathy, that movie's running, and Kathy's not the one upsetting you.
It's the movie.
You're asleep,
Right.
and that's the dream. You understand? So, do you see an image of when you were sitting over there?
Mm-hmm.
Which one's you? Is it that one or this one?
I'm both. I don't.
One's imagination, which one would it be?
You lost me there.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So you see in your mind's eye when you were sitting in the audience?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that you or imagination?
No, that's my that's my imagination.
Okay. So it's good to know who you are and who you're not.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
okay. So this past future thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you remember when I asked you the question? Which one's you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, was that you, I asked, or is this you?
This is me.
Good. Understand? Mm-hmm. So, anything that would anger you would be future, past, future, past. People cannot upset you. Short version. And I love that if this, when you get silent, you begin to notice the difference. That way people will never, you'll be connected to all people all the time because you won't be putting past, future onto them.
The stories, yeah.
Then you can stay connected in your life, and in that, for someone like you, you can make changes that you cannot even imagine. Because there's no malice in it. There's just literal listening and hearing and understanding. And also there's nothing to fear in it, because you have to put a future on someone before you can fear. This will make you beyond, it takes you, like you hear the word powerful, it takes you beyond what you can conceive of what that word even means. So let's look at the next one.
I'm just still processing that. You have to put a future on someone
Before you can
fear them.
Before you can fear. Oh, wow. And you're not fearing that person, you're fearing out of the images.
Yeah.
And then that person, you put the wrap on because you're out of time. Meaning, literally out of real time.
Right. That's some good shit. Okay. Number 5? No.
What do
In
you
order.
what do you need to be happy in that situation for?
What do you need them to think, say, feel, or do? That one? It's interesting. Well, because you said them. I went to, instead of Kathy, I went to themselves. Like, I think that's where I connected, like, oh, this is not just this one person. It's like right there. I need Kathy to love themselves is what I wrote.
Yeah. You need Kathy to love herself.
Love herself
Yeah.
and stop the destructive behavior and feel.
Good. So to be happy, you need Kathy to love herself. Hear how crazy that sounds now?
Isn't it?
For me to be
Oh my
happy, love
God.
yourself, because if I'm unhappy, it's your fault. Right?
Yes. Yeah. That sounds insane.
So to be happy, you need Kathy to love herself. Is that true?
No.
No. And even if she did, look at what you would put on her. You might not believe it.
Right. Because I need her.
Just give her a drink if you want to see her happy.
Right.
But happy under my rule.
But if I need her to love herself for me to be happy, then there's a process in there where I'm expecting her to not love herself, which doesn't allow her to love herself
Very good.
when she's in relationship with me.
You need to be Kathy to love herself. Is it true?
No.
And how do you react? What happens? How do you treat Kathy? And how does that feel inside of you when you think the thought, I need Kathy to love herself?
That I need to love myself. Yeah. It's not up to me.
So notice what happens in the past future in your head. You're with Kathy, and you think the thought, you need her to love herself. Notice the images that happen. This takes such stillness, but this is a practice, and it gets easier and easier until finally you're just awake. You're just awake, noticing the difference between life and this. So notice the images. You're there in the room with Kathy, and you have the thought, you need her to love herself. Notice the images of past, future that happen in your head.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
I mean, I go back to seeing that it's just all about me.
Yeah. So you see an image, I need Kathy to love herself. You see an image of her loving herself, and she's so happy. And then you see the image, but that's not Kathy, is it?
No, it's my imagination.
Purely. And then you put that on there, and you compare. There's Kathy here.
Yeah, of like
And
what
then
it
there's
looks like if
Kathy
she
there.
was doing these things, then yeah.
Yes. And so when the mind compares, you really think this is Kathy, the one in your head. And you see Kathy, and then you do whatever it takes as your mind compares to make your dream come true. And this is the dream. Believing that'll bring you happiness.
Yeah.
So it shows you've got your heart is there completely, but we're just coming out of a crazy head. And then you see the image of a past, maybe your mom dying of alcoholism. You see that, and then you see this, and you've got to save Kathy from this, which is pure imagination. Is that your mother or imagination? You're putting past, future on Kathy, and then coming out of fear in your responses. A dream, a dream, a dream. So here's the question, is it Kathy that's upsetting you? Or is it the movie, the dream?
No, it's the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With no comparison, look at your friend Kathy without comparison. That's who would you be without this thought on superimposed from here to there. There's Kathy perfect.
No. No.
So, how many of you have had the thought that you're not as handsome or as beautiful as that you're not as handsome or beautiful as you'd like to be? Okay. So, if you could not compare you to any other human being, are you amazingly perfect? How many of you see that? So you're amazingly beautiful and perfect until the mind compares. And so you're coming out of this fantasy. You're comparing yourself to a fantasy. No one has ever seen themselves. So you want Kathy to stop her destructive behavior. Turn it around. I want me
to stop my destructive behavior.
Yes. And to do that, we need to become sane and know what's real, what's reality, and what's imagined without comparing. And if we're awake to this, it leaves a smile. It leaves, as you all saw yourselves, it leaves everyone perfect. So we can communicate. We've got the mess cleared away. Mm-hmm. The unfinished business that we put onto that. And so the power of love is immeasurable. And we've been coming out of the power of fear, the powerlessness of fear. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in that situation with Kathy, here's your prescription for happiness. I need me to love her.
In that situation, I need me to love her.
And to stop
and I need to stop my destructive behavior.
And
I need to feel. Yeah.
So later when you leave here, if you look at statements 2, 3, and 4, and you turn them around, it shows you how to be sane in that situation. And that situation will arise over and over in your life. Okay, so, and until it doesn't. And let's look at the next one, at statement 5.
Okay. What do you think of them in this situation? Make a list. Remember, be petty and judgmental.
Mm-hmm. So Kathy is.
This is hard for me to say out loud, all of this. I'm sorry. Kathy is unbalanced. She's out of line. Kathy is selfish, and she's lazy, and she's angry, and she's unaware. Kathy is judgmental and scary. She's bullheaded. Kathy is guarded and blaming. She's broken. She's scared. And maybe a little mentally ill. Thank you for making me say this on stage to everybody.
And it's on camera.
What'd you say?
It's on camera.
I know.
Live all over the world.
Don't they want to come? This is going to be great for my practice. Come see me. I'm crazy.
Well, there's so much self-awareness here. Hopefully people will flock to you.
So in that moment in time, okay, we're talking about a moment in time. In that moment in time, I am.
In that moment in time, I am unbalanced.
Okay, and then you check it out. And we're to the end of the worksheet, and we've been checking it out. So So you're pretty awake to where you're off balance. You always judge that out of your heart. It's just natural. Okay? And in that moment, in that situation, I am,
Out of line. In that situation, I'm out of line.
yeah. And,
And in that situation, I'm selfish.
yeah, so you get that?
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in that moment,
I'm lazy.
I am the next
Lazy.
word.
Lazy. I am
Lazy.
angry.
Like you're lazy in your thinking. You're
Yeah.
asleep.
Yeah.
You're- You're not seeing Kathy. You're coming out of your own
Just
asleep.
out of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that moment, I'm angry. In that moment, I'm unaware. And in that moment, I'm scary.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I'm judgmental.
And didn't you say scary?
I said scary and I said scared.
But look,
Scary. Yeah.
you know, if you're Kathy,
Poor baby.
some amends to make.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. And the next one? You know, yes, I'm scared, and when I'm scared, I can be scary.
I can be pretty damn scary. In that moment, I am bullheaded. And
And as you contemplate these, you know, I am bullheaded in that moment. And would you take that really slow and you witness this? That's why imaging is good. You know,
Yeah.
the world is showing me my world, my unenlightened world, and where and how I'm asleep. But I am in that situation. I'm bullheaded. You know, in that movie now of then. Bullheaded, and I can witness me. And if I really witness how I am toward Kathy, and I can do this all the way through the worksheet, but where I'm bullheaded, I begin to see what I do with my shoulders, my facial tendencies. You know, I'm being passive aggressive. I really get to know myself from that visual. I couldn't see it then, I can see it now, and I sit with it. So when those physical tendencies start to arise again, I immediately can associate with, for example, I'm being bullheaded, I'm scaring me, but it just immediately will shift until there's nothing to shift. It's just a way of life. So in that situation, I am guarded.
in that situation, I am guarded.
And always look for examples in silence. You know, find where was I guarded? Selfish, lazy, judgmental. Where was I blaming? And this will give you some more amends.
Yeah.
And where is it that I was broken? Maybe some self-amends there. Scared. And maybe a little mentally ill, and you check it out. And it's by your standards in that. Because mentally
that
ill
moment,
means
just
something
in that
different
moment.
to all of us. Yes.
Right. I'm sorry.
It's like, right?
Right, just not now.
But we know when we're frightened, and to me that is mental illness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because we're aggressive in it. So where was I mentally ill? You know, where
Yeah.
was I aggressive? And are there any amends to make to her, to me, and to, it's like picking up breadcrumbs. So I follow through with this. So when I think of Kathy in that situation, I am so connected with my friend. Any time of night or day I think of Kathy, that's how I know my work's done. Then the next time you see Kathy, you're not putting that on her. It's impossible because you're awake. And you get to meet her for the very first time, and then maybe there's a little work to do, but friends like that are there to give us our work.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, the next one.
What is it about this situation that you don't ever want to experience again. I don't even remember what I wrote. I don't ever want to have to regress in order to be with her. I don't want to feel the fear of losing her.
So I'm willing to.
Well, and I have the one, and I don't want to feel responsible for her anymore.
So you were responsible for Kathy in that situation. Is it true?
No.
Good to know. Okay. Well, that's a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to regress. I'm willing to have to regress.
I am willing to have to regress
To be with her.
to be with her.
Yeah, it could happen. You know, if you have any unfinished business, it could happen. And then that would give you another worksheet and an opportunity to clean it up. And that's the point.
Yeah. I mean, that's what
And it makes
we're
all
here
of,
for, right?
Yes, it makes all of life exciting.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm willing to have to regress.
In order to be with her.
Yeah. And I'm willing
to
not
feel.
want to have. Yeah, I'm willing to feel the fear.
I'm willing to feel the fear of losing her.
Yeah. Because that's another worksheet.
That's going to be a worksheet. That's a worksheet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And then
And I'm
how would you
willing
say that? I'm willing to not want
No,
to
I'm
feel
willing to feel responsible
I'm willing to feel responsible
for her.
for her.
Again.
Again.
Yeah. Now do the whole thing again with I look forward to.
I look forward to regressing in order to be with Kathy.
It's just another worksheet.
I look forward to feeling the fear of losing her.
It's another worksheet.
And I look forward to feeling responsible for her.
Again.
Again?
Yeah. I look forward to feeling responsible for her again.
Again. I look forward to feeling responsible for her again.
Yeah. Exciting, isn't it? It's just not done until it's done.
Without fear.
If there's
So my ego jumps in and goes, no, we just talked. I don't look forward to that. But I do want to be in a
But then
relationship.
there's Kathy you want in your life, and
Right.
you know Kathy. If there's any
Yeah.
unfinished business that your mother didn't get to you, Kathy will get it to you. And again, mothers don't die, they live right here, so worksheets on your mother. Between the two of them, they're here to wake you up.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one and nothing that isn't a teacher. There's no one and nothing that isn't here to wake you up. That's it.
This might go off the worksheet, but how do you know when you say, I don't want to be in relationship? You know, like, no.
If she says,
Like to walk away, to say no, you know?
So I'm not understanding.
Well, to say like
Kathy says, let's go somewhere, and you say, no, I prefer not to.
no, of saying, I don't want this relationship anymore.
Like Kathy would say that to you?
No, I would, like, at what point do you say, this is enough?
When it's true.
You know, when it's true.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that about Kathy, because I love her, and I will regress with her. I will do, and I look forward to these.
Yeah.
I want to learn.
Because even if you say that and never see her again, she's still going to live here like your mother does. It's just not done until it's done. You can't lose a teacher until you get the lesson.
Right. And that's where we say, well, okay, if you walk away from that person,
Good luck with that.
good luck with that, because like we
'Cause you
said,
can't
like a
walk
drug,
away.
like an addict, that's my drug. I'm going to just find a new person to fill that until I'm done.
Yeah, and it'll be her in her head also.
Uh-huh. They all join together.
I mean, for all you know, Kathy only lives in your head.
No, she's
In
a real
fact, I would say,
person.
I would take out for all you
She's
know.
real.
Okay,
She's a real person.
okay.
But yeah, but the idea of her, yeah, and whatever I made of her, right? That's in here, is what you're saying.
So if you're with her, she'll give you another worksheet, and if she doesn't, your work's done there. And if she dies, like she's dead right now, let's say, she'll live right here, and she'll give you another worksheet because it's just not done until it's done, dead or alive.
Because it's not about her anyhow.
And where's your proof that she exists?
Okay. So right now, I don't have no proof.
Right,
She's-
right now,
Right now, she's just in my imagination.
right now, that's the only place she is in your world.
Right. Right.
That's a very important thing to understand.
Yeah, that's a doozy.
So where's your mother right now?
She's in there, in my imagination.
So how can she die? If your mother's in the bathroom and you're in the kitchen, or let's say you were in the bathroom and your mother was in the kitchen. Remember that? Okay, you imagined she was in the kitchen, so you had a certain life going on inside your head. But for all you know, she went to the store.
Right.
So mothers are here, dead or alive.
Right.
So this is where our work is, that's all I'm saying. Peace of mind,
Yeah.
so that we can connect with the world without war, resentment, anything, any lack of love. And it's not just, oh, good, I love everything. Love is
Yeah.
a fearless state of mind. Someone asked me for my definition of love the other day. It's a fearless state of mind. Done. That way, when we're making change, there is nothing to stop it. There is no self to protect. And if, well, this is a push, but if there's anyone standing, there's no separation. You can't die. Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like,
Anyone that would work with you, it would be a privilege. Thank you.
thank you so much.
There's about an hour left before noon, so
Amazingly courageous.
amazingly courageous, yeah.
Oh my goodness. You know, it's like if someone has the courage to come up on stage like this and take such an intimate look at themselves. You know, like if they can do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
And make that journey.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, really beautiful.
It's the power of the human, I don't know how you would phrase this, but the power of our defenses, and then there's also the power of the human spirit.
Yes.
That just with the right opening, you can't stop it.
Yeah, exactly. So once we find the groove,
Yeah.
We just can't go far enough, quickly enough. It's just like, that's the way. So I'm pointing out, but we've been looking at the world, and the way out of the world that's unacceptable to us, is to not go out, but to go in. And then this shifts, that shifts.
Right.
The way we see that shifts.
And that our frustration with that actually parallels our frustration with this.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And we can't change the Kathys in the world, but we can work on ourselves from here, and then we see the Kathys in the world differently.
Right, and that changes.
Yes.
beautiful.
And I love there's that we can really never leave anyone. They can't die and leave us when we're aware.
Right.
And they continue to teach us and continue to teach us, and that's what everything is for, self-realization.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said everything, there's nothing that's not your teacher.
Again?
You said there's nothing that's not your teacher.
No, there's nothing that is not our teacher. It's what everything's for.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's...
So we have about an hour left. I was wondering how you would like to use that time. We could bring in the audience's questions in response to that. We could bring up another person to do the work. It's your call.
Well, let's get some questions, and maybe we'll find someone that really wants
See
to
how
do
that
the
goes.
work in those questions.
Beautiful. And so we'll do our best with the mics. It's easier if we hand the mic to somebody closer, which is too bad for the people in the middle, but we'll do our best. So if you raise your hands, we have several mic runners.
Okay.
And if you raise your hand when you can speak, because we can't see you often.
Yeah, and if you stand up with the
Or
microphone,
stand up, yeah.
thank you.
Oh, there you are.
I just want to ask a question about Kathy's situation. So how does it work to help me to make decision in the future? For example, if tomorrow Kathy asks me to go to buy a drink for her, should I do it or not do it?
So just you be Kathy, and I'll see what happens. I'll respond.
All right. Katie, I really need a drink right now. Can you go to buy one for me? I don't have
sweetheart.
money.
Oh, I love how honest you are with me, and I hear you really want a drink.
Yes, I do. And I don't have money, so since you love me so much, so can you buy one for me?
So I didn't hear you. Would
She
you
says,
put the mic
since you love me so much, will you buy me a drink?
Actually, no. And you're right. I love you. See how much I love you.
But I really need one right now. Otherwise, I will be so depressed. I want to kill myself.
Oh, wow. I really worry about not having you in my life, and I hope you don't do that.
And I promise you, after this drink, I will stop.
So put the microphone here.
I promise you that after this drink, I will at least try to stop.
After this one last drink, I'll try to stop. This is just the last drink, and then...
Well, I leave it to you, and I really respect that. Thank you for sharing that with me.
So your answer is we should not buy the drink for her.
Well, it could change. I don't know. I had a cousin that called me. He was alcoholic, and he said it was like 3 a.m. or something, and phone rang. I woke up, and it was my cousin, and he said, I'm so depressed. And he said, if you can't give me one good reason to live, I'm going to kill myself. Give me a good reason to live. And I couldn't. I couldn't lie to him. So I just got as honest with, it's like, give him a good reason to live. All I could say is just the truth. I couldn't. So does that sound weird? I mean, I just couldn't put that on. I
couldn't say, don't worry, things will get better, or life is beautiful, or all those things.
Exactly,
Feel like,
Soren, and nothing, I couldn't know any of those things.
Right.
And so then he started crying, after a little break in time, and he said that's the first honest thing he had ever heard in his life. And that he never had another drink.
Wow.
And died later sober. And I don't do things so they'll work out. My job is to be as authentic and honest as I possibly can, because life isn't my priority. The enlightened mind is the only life there is. And what I love about silence, inquiry in silence, is that's the purpose. And then we can live without purpose. Living without purpose is like living in the moment. It's a flow and it's fearless, and there's nothing to stop you. Nothing to stop you. And it's the motivation is love and connection and the immovable experience of that. And then when you're not experiencing that, you can write another Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and just get still again and just continue to live out of, enlightenment is like a word for wisdom. It's a word for creativity, unblocked creativity. Like if he said, give me a reason to live, and I said, I can't think of one, I could have concocted something, but it interferes with wisdom. And I had no idea that would come out of my mouth. It was just the truth. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very
And it turned
much.
out to, in my life, everything seems to work without exception.
Thanks.
And when it doesn't, I've got inquiry. Someone asked me
I
the
think
other
somebody has
day
a mic here. Is that right? Yeah.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Thank you so much for that. That was very, very moving and helpful. But I do have a question. The situation I was thinking of, I am being what feels like attacked. So I don't quite know what to do with that.
Is that the worksheet you wrote?
Yes.
Okay, let's do the work.
Okay, thank you.
So any other questions as she's coming up?
I have a question. Back here, while she's coming,
Oh, she's up back there. Oh,
right here. So I feel compelled by this and also quite resistant. And it's around, I'm trying to express how I am seeking to be in a relationship with someone I'm dating and really working to express what I need and want. And somehow that feels in contrast with what you're saying, because there is an expectation.
Oh my goodness! I'm not saying don't expect anything. So, the people in my life are very clear about what I need and want. It's not a secret.
Okay. So it's not expressing, because
No, freedom is not limited.
Pardon?
Freedom is not limited. Someone the other day asked me, in my marriage, do I ever compensate? Do I ever have to compensate? Was that the word? Compromise. And, compromise. And I said, I can't recall that I ever do, but, I'd like to consider that and think about it. So Stephen says that, my husband, that I never compensate. Compromise. I'm so glad you're sitting close, sweetheart. He's my frontal lobe. Compromise. So, and what I love about our marriage is Stephen doesn't compromise either. And we just run this beautiful parallel respect.
There's something, though, about when you express what you're wanting or needing, and then there's fear and anger that comes up if
Yes,
there
it's the
is-
fear of losing him. And, if you don't express your wants and your needs, it's like if you were to express them, what may stop you is the fear of losing him. And so I invite you to test it. And if I had that fear, then it would not be right in myself, not to express it. And I probably wouldn't want to really be in relationship with anyone that I couldn't fully express with. Like Stephen would say, there's this amazing movie playing downtown, and let's go see it. It's really good. And I might say, gosh, honey, it sounds wonderful, and no, I don't want to go. And knowing Stephen, he goes, that's great, and he just goes to the movies. Mm-hmm. So we don't compromise. Compromise, right?
I don't want to take you away from that, but there's just something, I don't know why it seems conflictual from expressing what you want and need and then projecting onto the other your dissatisfaction, as you were trying to point out in that last scenario.
Well, I would just notice what kept me from expressing my wants and needs and put it on paper. And in your folders, you have one belief at a time worksheets. And it's like if I express what I want and need, what I fear is he will think I'm needy, say no, write your fears, and then put them through one belief at a time worksheets. Also, we have amazing facilitators in the world, certified facilitators, and you'll find them on thework.com. And also, there's a helpline that's free, and some of them are there. Mm-hmm. But they'll have a lot in common with you. They have profiles that maybe you can relate to with maybe specifically something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll take a look. Thank you so much.
Byron, I have just a yes or no question.
And
just a simple question. Over here.
Hi.
Hi. Can we do the work on ourselves with an image or imago of ourselves?
Yes.
Because your work is so relational, but can I put myself across and actually do these worksheets on the image I have on myself?
Yes.
Thank you.
And that is so close to your ego. Your ego is invested in saving its life, and it loses its life in inquiry. That's why it can be difficult. Now, if you fill in a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet on someone else, well, did you fill in a worksheet?
Not yet, but
Okay,
this
so
just
if
seems
you-
like this work that you're doing is really ultimately with yourself anyway, like ourselves anyway.
Exactly. When you fill in a worksheet, whose thoughts are they? Yours. So it's always about you. Filling a worksheet on yourself, I'm trying to put one person between, one object between you and this, your mind. And so you have a better view. It's really difficult. And some of you can just judge yourselves and go straight for it and be that open-minded and honest. Okay, so sweetheart, what did you write?
Okay, so maybe I should preface by saying the thing is I could have written two of these, one for her and one for me, because I partially think it's possible the reason we're in this conflict is because I am a bad person, right? So this is the sheet that I filled out for the person
So what did
I'm
you
talking
write?
about. I wrote about a teacher of mine. I am also a therapist, and I'm in a clinical seminar where I am angry with Dr. Moreno because
Well, let's leave the name out of it.
Oh, excuse
okay?
me.
I'm angry
With her.
with her because
Call her Michelle. That's not her name. Because not only will she not protect my emotions when I'm attacked, but she blames me for trying to protect myself.
So she blamed you for trying to protect yourself. Is it true?
It was true in the
Well,
moment.
it's a yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. So, and I'm going to hold you to it. So if you take this work home with you, because I held you to it, you'll be able to hold you to it at home. Just one syllable, yes or no. So she blamed you for trying to protect yourself. So listen very closely, close your eyes and be there. Where are you? Are you in her office? Are you?
I'm in a classroom.
You're in a classroom.
I'm crying, and there are tears and snot running down my face. And I said, "Excuse me, I need to go get Kleenex." And when I came back, she said that it was privileged of me to leave.
It was
privileged of me to leave, that I shouldn't have left when I'm uncomfortable. Not everyone has the privilege of leaving when they're uncomfortable. To go get
so
Kleenex.
she was blaming you for trying to protect yourself. Can you absolutely know when she said those words that she was blaming you for trying to protect yourself?
No.
So you hear the words?
Yeah.
Okay. Now notice emotionally what happened when you had the thought, she's blaming me.
I felt very attacked, very scared. I wanted to run out of the room.
And notice how that's affected your relationship toward that classroom, the teacher, the students.
Very distancing. Very disconnecting.
So now close your eyes and see you in that classroom. You see you there, and she's saying what she said. Now just notice, who would you be? What would you be without the thought she's blaming me, she blamed me? And just hear her words.
I would be much more empathetic to what she's trying to tell me.
So she's blaming me for trying to protect myself, turn it around.
I'm blaming her.
I'm blaming me for trying to protect
myself. I'm blaming myself for trying to protect myself.
When you try that on, what do you see?
Maybe maybe I'm not engaging as fully as I could be because I'm putting up too many walls. Maybe I'm blaming her for trying to protect herself.
So see what it feels like when you drop the maybe and get really still in it and see it as opposed to guessing. So see you in that classroom. Other than what you're thinking and believing, are you okay?
Yeah.
So look at you. Other than what you're thinking and believing, look how well everything is without your judgments on it.
Yeah, everything's fine without the judgments.
Yeah. And you're free to cry with stuff running down your face, and you're okay without your judgments. You're free. And you're free to come back with your face all cleaned up. And just listen and get what you came for, which is to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's look at statement 2.
I want her to acknowledge my hard work, that acknowledge that I deserve to have comfort, and to admonish others for attacking me, and to comfort me.
So let's see if I have this right. You want her to acknowledge your hard work and that you deserve to have comfort.
To comfort me as well.
And that you deserve to be comforted.
That I deserve to be comforted. I want her to comfort me. I want her to acknowledge that I'm trying hard, and I want her to admonish other people for attacking me.
Okay. So you want her to comfort you.
Yes.
Okay. So you see you in the classroom, you see her. You want her to comfort you. Is it true?
It was, yes.
And look at it now. Do you see it? Now that you see her, you want her to comfort you.
No. I kind of want her to leave me alone. Yeah.
Okay, and notice what happens when you think the thought you want her to comfort you, and she doesn't. She's just running her classroom, teaching. Responding to your exit.
Yeah. No, I feel needy. I feel like a little child demanding things that I don't need to demand.
Yeah. So let's turn it around. I want her to comfort me.
I want me to comfort me.
Yeah, you're handy dandy. There you are, right there with you. So how would you comfort you?
Maybe I can reassure myself that I'm not a bad person. That's the main thought that goes through my head when all this goes down.
So I have a solution. Would you like to hear it?
I would love to.
The way to comfort you, maybe in that situation, and I learned this from you, is to acknowledge your hard work.
Yeah.
And know that you deserve to be comforted. You were emotional.
How do I do this in the moment if this happens again?
You know, you can't, but because
do
we're
it
doing
later.
this, you know the simple directions are in there with you somewhere and you're closer to them.
That's very true. What about this last piece, though? I want her to admonish others for attacking me. That seems problematic.
And I don't want to admonish her for attacking me. That's how to comfort
right.
you.
I don't want to admonish anyone.
No.
I don't want to be bothered by it.
No. Very comforting.
Yeah. That's true.
Practical. Oh.
Okay.
So when you turn around, turn the whole around, I don't want her to acknowledge my hard work. I have me, and she's teaching.
I want to acknowledge my own hard work.
Yeah. Do you want her to stop the course that you signed up for? To acknowledge everyone and comfort everyone?
We don't have time for that. No.
And be your watchdog that keeps people from attacking? There's not a lot of teaching that's going to go on there.
That's right.
Okay, sweetheart. So let's look at statement 3.
I want.
You know, there's another one. I want me to acknowledge her hard work.
I do want that.
So read it that way, the whole thing.
I want to acknowledge her hard work. It's true.
And to acknowledge that she,
Deserves to be comforted.
yes,
I want to comfort her. I think that's true.
yeah, that's so much, that's like you. Yeah. This other is so against your true nature that it's off, and we get so lost in it. And I love in these worksheets we can get found because we're dealing with our sane, kind self and clear direction here.
With our higher self, really.
Yes, yes. So let's look at the next one.
She shouldn't blame me for taking care of myself. She should comfort me. She should acknowledge that I'm trying hard. She should realize that I'm choosing to be here and I could choose to leave.
Okay. So she was blaming you for taking care of yourself. Listen to her words. Is it true she was blaming you for taking care of yourself?
No.
No. Isn't that
Yeah.
when I sit in these workshops, it's just so good. You feel that?
I really do
Such
feel
a
that.
relief. It's like we shift from victim to power.
Yeah.
And nothing shifted but the mind. The teacher didn't change. No one just shift from victim to power.
Wow.
From where you sit, anywhere you sit, on a plane, a train, a classroom.
That's incredible. It's true.
So, turned around, I shouldn't blame me.
I shouldn't blame me for taking care of myself.
Yeah, that's what really happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think I had many thoughts after about how I should have held it together. I shouldn't have become emotional. I shouldn't have this. I maybe shouldn't even be in this class.
Yeah, and the truth is, you should have become emotional. You know, you felt your feelings. I wouldn't stop my emotions for anything. They have a right to life.
Yeah.
And I'm good with it. I love life. Everything has a right to life. So she blamed you for taking care of yourself. How did you react the moment you believed that thought? Notice what happened. So close your eyes and you saw images of past, future, and then you felt the emotions. You were upset.
This has happened before. This will always keep happening. I'm the sort of person who somehow elicits punitive action in other people.
Yeah.
I'm a bad person.
Yeah. And you see those images and you put that storyline on those images and then you just feel rocked.
I feel doomed, damaged,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
unlikable. This will always keep happening. I am unlikable.
So turn the whole thing around. I shouldn't blame me for taking care of myself.
I shouldn't blame me for taking care of myself. I should comfort myself. I should acknowledge that I'm trying hard. I should realize that I'm choosing to be here and could choose to leave.
Yeah, you're free.
But I choose to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue choosing to be there.
Yes.
It doesn't always feel free. If I dropped out now, it could be...
Well, it's what you're thinking and believing. Other than
Right.
that, you're free.
That's true.
And, you know, whether we're in a state of mind to be aware of it or not, you are blaming you for taking care of yourself. And in those moments, you don't know that you're there to comfort you or how. Let's turn it around another way. I shouldn't blame her.
I shouldn't blame her for taking care of herself.
Yeah, and her job.
In her job.
Yeah.
I should comfort her.
Mm-hmm.
I should acknowledge that she's trying hard and this is difficult.
Yeah.
I should realize that she's choosing to be there and she could choose to leave too. Okay.
These truths really override the ego, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like being in a forest and just being so lost in it, and all of a sudden the light just shines through, and it's like, oh, no longer lost.
I think I realized something about number 5 just now when we get there. In order for me to be, can I move to number 4? For me to be happy, what do I need her to think, say, feel, or do? I need her to tell another classmate that she's being unfair. I need her to praise me. I need her to ask about my feelings.
Okay? So she was being unfair. Listen to her words. She was being unfair. Is it true?
Yes.
Okay, it felt that way, but you can hear her words now. Listen to her words. She's being unfair. Is it true?
I don't know, so I guess can I absolutely be sure no.
So what did she say again?
Someone made me cry unfairly, and when I went out to get a tissue
And did she
came
know
back,
someone made you cry, that someone made you cry, or did she just see you crying?
I think she noticed.
Okay.
It was a class discussion.
Okay.
When I went out to get a Kleenex and come back, she said, you shouldn't have left. It is a privileged thing to do. Other people don't have the privilege of leaving when they feel uncomfortable.
Okay, so was it a privileged thing to do? In that classroom, what rules does she have?
I don't know what rules she has. I don't know.
Okay, so now you know.
Now I know.
Yeah.
Don't go out and get a Kleenex.
So she's an instructor in this classroom, It's a privileged thing to do when you're feeling emotions to get up and leave. Without, did she say without permission? Or just to
She did,
to
and she
leave?
just said, get up and leave. Okay, so that is a privilege in her classroom.
So when you sign up for someone's classroom, they're going to teach. So everyone got to learn that, maybe for the very first time as well.
Okay. Yeah, I guess there's no objective privilege out there. It's whatever you define it to be in the classroom.
And what was the last thing she said?
The last thing she said, there
That
are a
it's
lot of things I'm
It's a
focused on.
privileged thing to.
It's privilege to have the luxury to get up and go bring a Kleenex.
It
Other
really
people,
is, isn't it?
sure, I have Kleenex around. Some people don't have Kleenex around.
But you just get up and
I
leave
can get up and
anytime you
leave, right.
want,
I've
and
not
it
changed.
is a privilege.
Yep, it's true.
So she was really pointing out what you already knew. It's like we're just kind of catching up with it.
Okay, true, yeah.
You know, when we're in a classroom and we really listen, then there's never, I mean, our opposition just has to fall because we're really there to learn.
So we're sort of saying it's not a right to comfort myself and wipe my snot away. It's a privilege.
I think it is, and it is a privilege.
It's a right and a privilege, maybe.
It's a right and a privilege.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess what I was hearing is you don't deserve to take care of yourself, but she didn't say that.
That's very good. You are catching up with yourself. Oh my goodness, I think you have found the culprit here. That was you telling you that. And that's okay unless you believe it, but you believed it.
Now that I'm thinking back, I think she even said, I understand that you had to take care of yourself, but it's a privilege to get up and get Kleenex. Okay.
Yeah.
Re-remembering things. Okay.
So,
Praise me. I should praise myself, perhaps.
yes.
Ask about my feelings. Maybe I should inquire into my own feelings.
Yes.
Maybe I should ask about her feelings.
Yes, after class. Unless you want to just pull out another privilege.
Right. Right. What about...
And then she would give you some more feedback, but it would be off course. It would have to do with the classroom, but it would be off course, and you signed up for on course.
That's true.
Yeah, but after class.
What about she should tell this other student she's being unfair? I don't think I should tell the other student she's being unfair. That doesn't sound like the right conclusion.
So there's no one there, since this is all self-talk anyway. Turn it around, I should tell me.
I should tell me that I'm
That
being
I
unfair?
am being
Unfair.
unfair.
Maybe I am.
Well, drop the maybe, are you?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, because maybe we'll leave your ego at play. Really check it out.
I don't know if I'm being unfair.
It sounded like you were being very unfair to yourself.
Yes. That's true.
So when I turn things around, I just kind of try them on, like that pair of boots. I'm trying to say, what does that mean to me? You know, I'm being very unfair. Is it being unfair? To myself.
It's also possible I wasn't fair to the other student. I don't know.
Okay, so check it out.
Maybe that's another worksheet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And well, if you later, as you contemplate this, if you were in any way, then there are ways of making amends for that, and not even getting found out if you don't want to do it face to face. And if you can do it face to face, that's a really good thing, because it gives permission to be. It gives people in your authenticity gives people permission to be authentic in their lives. And that's not the point of it, but it does happen that way.
I tend to take a lot of blame in this classroom. I'm afraid that I'll continue taking blame and it'll just pile higher and higher, but I guess if I'm able to do the work about it, it doesn't really matter.
And the work is free on thework.com, how to do it, everything. You just go there, there's YouTube, all kinds of stuff there. And you know how to do this because we've sat together and you're good at it. Your mind is very open. That's a gift. So I need her to tell the other classmates that she is being unfair, turned around. I need me.
I need me to tell myself that I'm being unfair.
Yeah. And I need me to tell myself that she is not being unfair.
I need to tell myself that she's not being unfair.
And you can do that honestly because you've discovered that she's not being unfair.
Right. Right.
I need me to praise.
Maybe I need to praise her, and I need to praise myself.
Yeah, and where you can praise her is right here. You know, because she didn't say what you believed she said.
She deserves more credit than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I need me to ask about
my feelings. I need me to ask about my feelings.
Yeah, so you can sit in that and just have an amazing time to see what brought them on. But what bring the feelings on is your thoughts about, are these thoughts that you're writing down here.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the next one.
She is a bad teacher. She's a bigot. She's stupid. She's hateful, a terrible person, and racist.
You know, what I love about this is you've really collected your head and put it down. And I hope you've all done the same because there's so much in it. You know, those people that say those things, it's like maybe I don't say it, but am I thinking it? So this gives you an opportunity to just empty yourself on paper, to realize yourself and just filling in the worksheet. So she's a bad teacher. In that situation, is it true? When you consider what you've discovered here.
No.
You get it?
I get it.
And she's a bigot. Is it true?
That I don't know about, but
what
I
is
can
your
see how I
definition
can
of
turn it
bigot?
around. I suspect she may dislike that I am a Jew.
Again?
That I'm Jewish.
Okay, so do you have any idea that she is even aware that you may be Jewish?
She's aware.
Okay, so and what has she said or done that would lead you to believe that she's a bigot?
I've been dismissive of my statements about recent threats against Jewish people in the States, and been seemingly uninterested in talking about my background, whereas she's interested in talking about others'
I love that you said seemingly.
You're right.
Interest.
I don't know. It's my suspicion.
So she's a bigot. Is it true?
I don't
really look at it.
Can I know it? I can't know it.
Very good.
No.
She's stupid. Is it true?
No.
No. It's going to, if she really is, get out of that class.
She's not hateful either. She's a loving person. She's not a terrible person. And racist is another word for bigot.
She's racist. Is it true?
I don't know for a fact, no.
And some of us will use the word racist, and for some of us, until we think we know what that means, but we just see these images of what it means. But keep a dictionary close. It could be what the dictionary says and what you think it means are different, even though you're positive you know what the word means. But always match it, because these are words matter. So she's a racist. Is it true? You can check it by your own definition and then look at the dictionary. what does racist mean to you? And we heard a little.
What does racist mean? Are you re-asking what does racist mean to me? I'd like to take that one back. Bigot was enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, she's a bigot and a racist, okay? Notice what happens to your attitude toward her the moment you think that thought and believe it.
It's very blaming. It's very distancing. It's extremely judgmental. It categorizes her as an evil person when I don't really know that that's the fact.
Yeah. And just feel what that feels like to sit in a classroom with someone that you believe that onto. Like there's the body, that object, and then you believe that onto that object, and you're in their classroom and you want to raise your hand, and you have to, how do you react? You have to be careful about your wording. You have to manipulate. You can't just spontaneously raise your hand and get the question out. Also, how do you react when you believe the thought? When she is giving just clear instruction about privilege, you take it on like the way you took it on.
How did I take it on?
Well, no, you took it on the way you described.
Yes.
So she's a bigot and a racist.
Yeah.
Who would you be in that classroom, in that situation, without those thoughts?
Much more at ease. Much less guarded, much less defensive.
Less racist.
Less racist.
Less bigoted yourself.
That's very true. Less concerned with these differences.
Yeah. So she's a bigot and a racist. Turn it around. In that situation, I am.
In that situation, I'm bigoted and I'm racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Toward the Jewish people.
Toward the Jewish people? Maybe I don't see it.
Well, you're thinking of that like it's not okay.
Right.
Like it's not okay to be Jewish.
From someone else's perspective.
Yes.
I see.
I mean, what you're putting on you, imagining onto her, is you putting it on Jewish people. Yourself.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Even though there are those sentiments out there, maybe not with her, but
well, I would check it out. Out where?
Out in the, the bomb threats to the JCC this past week. Is that not real?
Well, I'm leaving those things to you.
I don't have.
You know why people bomb people?
I don't know that. No.
Well, if you believed what they believed, you would bomb people too.
That's probably true.
Mm-hmm. So the clearer you get, the less teachers you're going to bomb in your head. And it starts here. Because anytime anyone puts you in charge, if you're at war here, you're not going to do that well out there. You're not going to be your maximum beautiful self.
Yeah, I'm the one who's focusing on these thoughts, yeah.
Yeah. In my world, there are no like Jews or whatever. There are people and how I believe them to be, and it's never going to get any better than that. Occasionally, I'll ask Stephen, do you still think you're Jewish, honey?
How about the rest of these? You think they apply to me in that moment? Because I feel like they might.
So let's take a look.
Stupid and hateful.
Okay. So in that situation, where is it that you were stupid out of your understanding of stupid in that moment?
I wasn't able to have a more objective meta perspective of the situation. I was blinded by a whole lot of thoughts. I did not know things. I did feel hateful, so that seems clear.
And you were like bigoted toward her,
right?
Racist toward her and yourself,
right?
And your judgments of her, your judgments of you, made you feel. Specifically, your judgments about you made you feel like a terrible person.
Yes.
And when you judge anyone as a terrible person, you're going to feel that way as well. But you were blaming two of you.
Yeah, that's resonating. That's true.
And that's hateful and stupid and a bad teacher for yourself.
Yeah.
Because every time you think and believe it, if you don't question it, then, that's the education you're giving you.
Yeah. I was
you understand that? When you're believing your thoughts, you are educating yourself. And that is your reference toward you, the human race, and the only way I know to break that spell is to meditate on, is it true? When those emotions arise and you're feeling anxiety or a depression or a sadness, identify what you're thinking and believing, capture it on paper, and then meditate on those 4 questions and opposites. Okay, precious. Let's look at the last one.
I don't ever want to feel helpless, to feel wronged, to feel unfairly blamed, and unable to protect myself, made to feel like a bad person.
And I can tell you, looking back in my life, I have never been wronged. Not once.
Been wronged.
And I'm really researching this one. I'm just always researching it. Okay, so I'm willing to feel helpless.
I'm willing to feel helpless. I'm willing to feel unfairly blamed. I'm willing to feel unable to protect myself.
Yeah. That I'm willing to feel unable to protect myself. Feel that hopelessness. Because that kind of hopelessness, you feel that, and it automatically just says, worksheet, identify what you're thinking and believing and get this squared away, or you're just enforcing that identification. Who am I? I am helpless. I am wronged. I'm unfairly blamed. This is my identity. So we're really breaking identity down.
So in a way, we're almost saying, I'm willing to feel this way because I have to, because if I avoid
you have to in the moment,
it's going to be there regardless.
Yes. Well, you have to feel it when it arises. But if you're awake to it, and that's what this work does, if you're awake to it, you actually experience like laughter that doesn't show to other people. It just looks like you're in a good mood. But laughter, where prior to that, you just experience depression and that, what you described, that helplessness. So I'm willing.
I'm willing to be made to feel like a bad person.
So I look forward to.
I look forward to feeling helpless.
Yeah, because it's another worksheet.
It is. I look forward to feeling wronged.
It's another worksheet.
Another worksheet.
No one can wrong me. How could someone wrong me? If I have a certain identification and someone wrongs me, they're actually writing me. Just like you discovered in the classroom. You thought she was wronging you.
Right.
But she was
teaching me.
just talking about privilege,
Right.
according to you. So people write me, but if I believe they wrong me, then I'm going to put this identification onto them, and I'm not going to have a happy life. So I break that trance through, the truth sets us free. So I look forward to.
I look forward to being unable to protect myself. I look forward to being made to feel like a bad person.
Yes, exciting, isn't it?
Yes, a lot to learn from.
Because those things are so far off when you look to your true nature. Until mind matches true nature, it's not done. That's the end of separation, and it's the beginning of life on this planet. It's just a whole new. It's a whole new way of being. It's where solutions are. It's life without problems. Just life lived out of wisdom.
This has been going on since September. I wonder what would have happened if I started doing this like months and months ago,
Well, just wonder what's going to happen now.
I do wonder about
Yeah,
that.
be willing to and look forward to.
I look forward to
every
wondering.
attack thought you've got, honey, toward you or the world.
Yeah.
You are beautiful, and believing these thoughts don't allow you to realize it.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're precious. You are
So wonderful. I may have to come and do the school.
good. So, again, it's just the way people have the courage to look at themselves so deeply, it never ceases to blow my mind.
And we all have that possibility and
If they can
capacity.
do it, we can do it.
And you had said, we just have a few minutes, but you had said, I think not a lot of people understand that you have been through years and years of depression. So it wasn't like you were just on a beach and you got this insight and decided to kind of...
Yeah, actually, I was sleeping on a floor because I was so full of self-hatred, I didn't believe I even deserved a bed to sleep in. I'd sleep on the floor next to my bed. So that's depressed.
Yeah. And then you felt like you received this as a kind of a rope out, or as an
Yeah, actually a cockroach. I was in a dead sleep and a cockroach crawled over my foot, and I opened my eyes and there was no identification there. And then and then it's as though these images hit, and it was like I learned there you can't see it until you believe it. And we come in like children like that. There's nothing, and then we finally believe something, and then we're identified and on our way. But in that moment on the floor, I saw like this light, and the word window came in, and then everything had a name, and there were everything separated out. And so I saw in that moment, what's so valuable about that moment is when I believed my thoughts, I suffer. And when I didn't believe my thoughts, I didn't suffer. Yeah. And I've come to see that this is true for every human being. So this work wakes us up from the trance, and it does take stillness, contemplation, and an open mind, for sure.
What do you feel like when people say, well, I really like Byron Katie, I mean, I kind of agree with her, but she's just too intense. Or there's like the fact that you present everything back as a mirror. Can somebody kind of take pieces off? Can I kind of think there are a few enemies out there for a while, and then I kind of build up, and then then I'm like, okay, maybe that person is not my enemy, and then or is it like everything?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, so the answer is yes, you can judge everyone. It's just that how you doing, in that, are you happy in your life? Okay. So we can and we do, and we do until we don't.
Right.
Yeah, but I love that there is a way in the world that, some questions that we can actually take into the silence, and contemplate, you know, what's true, what's not, and notice the cause of all suffering, which are this past future imaging that would distort what we see. And the thoughts we believe onto those, we believe onto that which is life, and which is not real life. It's life as we imagine it to be. So the questions wake us up from that trance.
Is there a sense when you can honor both what's like the turnaround and when you can honor all aspects of the situation, then clarity comes? So I can honor the fact that how one part of me actually thinks I'm helping, and another part of me actually wants that person to suffer. That if you can hold those, things are less cloudy.
Yes. Yeah. It's
because I'm identified with the thought, oh, I'm just trying to help her.
Yeah, you know, I'm just trying to help her, so why does it hurt so much? You know, it's like if it hurts me and they're not listening, then I can take care of one person that hurts, and it's the one closest to me. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
It's myself.
Yeah, beautiful. So we are out of time.
Yeah. You know, what I'm excited about is
please, tell us
John
what you're excited
Kabat-Zinn. Yes, we're going to have a little silence and wisdom going here for sure.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful day. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Soren. Thank you for making this event so possible.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.